Nigerians are suffering. Tinubu'S government should bridge gap between policy pain and policy gain, Adebayo advises. Now to the news in full. Prince Adebayo, a lawyer and businessman, is the candidate of the Social Democratic Party SDP in the 2023 presidential election and leader of the party. Prince Adebayo in his interview spoke on a wide range of national issues. Excerpt from the interview is reproduced below. Question: The Northern League of Democrats visited former President Obasanjo and discussed, among other issues, regionalism, which had a lot of fond memories for everyone. What do you think of the visit and discussion? He said every contribution to a public discourse must be put in the context of why the discussion was made, why the comment was contributed. From what I gathered, it was a courtesy visit by the League of Northern Democrats. That name suggests that it is a league of Northerners who have democratic aspirations for the country, and in that context, I wouldn't think it is to be a speech or regionalism generally, because regionalism will mean different things. I think what the former president was trying to drive at is that any discourse about a common problem in Nigeria should not exclude anyone. It should be made available for everyone who wants to contribute, from chairman, former Kano State Governor Ibrahim Shekarau, to the convener, Dr. Umar Ado. Many of my brothers were there. These are my friends and supporters, these are my believers, and these are people I consider to be Democrats. If they form an organization that's just seen as the League of Northern Democratic, what President Obasanjo was saying was that to some people, it is that Northern that they see, that they will not see the League and they would not see Democrats in it. But if you are able to see all the three words, you will understand that these are Nigerians of northern extractions who are concerned about democracy, and there is nothing unusual about that. But for a president like General Obasanjo, who joined the Nigerian Army, not Northern Army, not Western Army, who ruled as the head of state and as your president and joined the national party called the PDP, when you come to him for anything that is sectional, that is regional, that is not all inclusive, he will balk at it. My view about regionalism as a system of government, as a method of administration, that's a different discussion. That is political science discussion. That is discussion of history. It doesn't mean that the regions were not good. The regions were great. But in modern times, when you are discussing national issues, you need to discuss it on a national basis. What I believe is that many things that are national today started as regional. Even the Federal Road Safety Corps started as Oyo State Road Safety Corps. So many things can start from the region. It can start from anywhere as long as it is for national benefit. We should try to listen and we should try to expand it. I asked him, what is your perspective on the regional system of government as it affects national governance? What is your perspective? He said, my perspective is that problems that are regional and local should be addressed locally. You cannot federalize every issue. Nigeria is a reasonable sized country, and it is just the right size to be one entity, and I believe in that one entity. However, many things were done better in the region, not just because they were regional, but because the nature of the problems were localized to those regions. Also because the region was very effective. Some of it has to do with the effectiveness of British administration generally. They were good with the civil services or public services. But I don't think that we can rule out regionalizing certain aspects of things. For example, on the issue of collapsed national grid, maybe if we had regional grids at local levels, state levels, and I made that speech during my campaign 2 years ago, with respect to how to manage power, how to decentralize the national grid and make the national electricity grid to be a backup, so that if there is a collapse in one section of the country, you could will power to them for the time being. But the idea you assume that if something is called federal or national, automatically works better or automatically unites people. No. In fact, it will surprise many people that in the regions in the past, it didn't matter if you came from those regions. There were people from the east and west who were senior in government services in northern Nigeria. So none of this guarantees success. None of it guarantees failure. I think efficiency matters, but regionalism will be used on many occasions because of geography, because of the localization of the issues and things like that. Consider where we are today with many asking questions about whether or not our federal system is really working. In the real sense of the word, if a senator comes up with a bill to strengthen the regions, What would your response be if you saw that? My response would be nuanced. I would engage on three basic principles. One, the region worked, not because they were regions, but because the people around them were interested in running proper government. Even if you don't change anything today in terms of regionalization, if you keep the structure and the constitutional framework that we have now, if you have patriots and highly knowledgeable people to run things, things will run well. So don't say these regions ran because they were regions. They ran because of the quality of the political leadership, the quality of the public services, and the general direction and the moral compass of the country at that time. And the leftover of the efficiencies of which the British were known in public services. You may disagree with them over colonialism and anything, but as efficient public servants, you don't like them as you get the British. Now, what I will say in addition is that those who are running the country today as at present, if they were asked to run the regions, they would have ruined the regions. If they have displayed the same attitude today now, if they displayed them when the regions were there, they will ruin the region. So it is not the form of government that is the problem of the country, but the quality of leadership that is running this governmental institution and framework. The second thing is that you do not over-regionalize, you don't over-correct. Don't go and eliminate everything you like in the country and regionalize. For example, you cannot regionalize the armed forces. You cannot regionalize postal services. You cannot regionalize diplomacy. You cannot regionalize trade and currency. So there are many things that you cannot regionalize. However, any other thing you could regionalize them, and you could even localize them. For example, the police. If a goat belonging to Mr. Wosu is missing in Owerri, it is not the business of the LG in Abuja to have a say in it, but it does have a say in it because if the person who stole the goat is the son of a senator, the senator is going to call the IG, and the IG is going to arrest the owner of the goat and free the thief. So you don't need all of that. The third thing is that no matter what system of government you create, whether it is regional, whether it is local, every Nigerian should have access to it. Anybody from the old western region or eastern region or midwest, when it was created in 1963, could go to the north and get a job because Sir Adebayo Saldana, who was leading the government, and those who were supporting him, like Mekam Abida and many people, were not racist. They were not racial, they were not ethnicist. They thought that the region belonged to them, to everybody who was physically in the north. It didn't matter where you came from before. So you could become a judge of the High Court of Northern Nigeria even though you are not Hausa, Igbo, Fulani, Tiv or any other ethnicities, indigenous or not. You could come from anywhere, and that is the approach our law was giving free education to anyone who was in the western region. It did not ask where you were born and all of that. And I think that is the attitude. If you went to Port Harcourt in those days, when Opera was Premier of the East, nobody knew who was from anywhere. So many people from many parts of the country, if you live in Port Harcourt and you are the Garden City, you have a person, a boy or girl in school, you went to school. So these are the three principles that I would want us to understand. One, that regionalization of form of government is not it at all. Secondly, that efficiencies are better. Some are local level, some are federal level. Thirdly, a Nigerian should be able to enjoy equal rights under all these forms of government, whether local, regional, or federal, and that is just the truth. But see, the kind of people that we're supposed to have in politics, they will not allow them to be there. Emilio, it is well, and will continue to suffer, and they will not even listen to advice. That is another problem they have. They have ego. They will not listen to people's advice. I hope they would listen to this person and implement the things that he has said. My listeners, over to you. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, to share, and subscribe. Thank you for listening. See you some other time. Bye.